don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. I've been continuing on my book. I think I finished chapter 7, and it looks like I'm close to being, halfway done. Of course, the further I get into the book, the quicker the scenes go, that the chapters, I think, tend to go by far quicker. I mean, this one is, chapter 8 is still a decent size. No, not decent, 4 pages. It'll probably take me 3 videos then to finish this chapter. Because 2 to read it and then the recap. But, yeah. I think I'm enjoying it. I'm liking going back through it all. I mean, I did when I was writing it and then proofing it. And then, the whole editors take it and then I reread it and I'm like, okay, I agree on it. But it's so strange because it's just like there are things that I was like, how did I not notice it? That I realized because it was still so fresh in my mind, because I was literally wrote it and I was going to continue on to the next book, but I was like, you know what? I'll work with the editors. It was brand new to me. So I was working with the editors and then I'd be working on things, helping them out. And then when I finally got the book back, I was just like when I was talking to the editors, everything already made sense in my mind. So the editors asked me a question and I was like, you know what? That's not what I'm working on right now. I'm going to read. A blade pierced through the trunk. Ah! Lier bellowed out, throwing her hands into the air, letting out her built-up frustration. She dropped herself at her table, leaving her blade in the tree whose canopy she now made her home while in the camp. After all, now this, Lier said aloud while reflecting alone on what led to her fury. After Lier had spoken up, saying they should have the humans join the battle, all the forces were put on halt as they sent out messengers to the human settlements. Lier was summoned again to her mother. She remembered with disgust. To her mother, she remembered with disgust. They had finally discussed the joining of the humans into the front lines. So, as you have been advised, Violet Leader Slier said to all the officers present, the humans have been notified of our demand. Demand, Lier thought, chuckling sarcastically to herself, more like request. I will not stand for those animals to be a part of my battalion, an officer in the crowd shouted, to the agreement and applause of the others present. Slier lifted her hand in the air, causing the crystal she had placed on the ground to project a map of lights, indicating all of the human regions where all gathered could see. When we first sent out word, she continued, all the humans were scattered. She pointed to the map, which showed little pockets of humans. And in the short time we have been here, and in the short time we have been here, the humans have gotten in contact with each other, and now we know that there are even more humans than we had originally thought. As Slier spoke, the map added lines to each of the known human villages, and then dispersed again to even smaller villages. All the elves stared in astonishment. As you can see, their numbers have grown over 5 times what we had originally estimated. Slier gestured over to Lier. As the Amber Leader advised, their numbers are far greater than our own, and they will be able to send more bodies to the battle. The elves began to smirk at that remark. Yes, they may not know how to fight, but they are numbers, large numbers, and numbers alone can sway the tide of the battle, the tide of the war. All the elves looked around. So what is our battle plan? With those humans... Wait. All the elves looked around. So, what is our battle plan with those numbers? The officer in front of Lier asked. Well, I think it would be reasonable to make one unit of primarily humans led by a small fraction of elves, Slier said, looking directly at Lier while motioning her forward. I have put Lier in charge of this honorable task, she said, knowing it was no honor, as working with humans was even more of a disgrace than working with the elven men. As Lier turned to see the other officers, she saw smiles being quickly hidden away. Children, she thought, as their revelry in her demeaning assignment showed. I am honored to be given such a task and will do the best job possible, she said mechanically, as she secretly fumed. Oh, one more thing. Slier raised her hand as if she had forgotten something. The women who stay with you must stay by choice. We do not want any women being forced against their will, as that would make us no better than the humans. Lier knew her mother better now and started to pick up on her emotional slips. She knew her mother took joy in taking away what she had worked so hard to develop and giving her the animal-like humans to work with. Lier's mind slipped back to the first human she had met in the cells. Savage beasts with no sense of logic. She had only met one human who she thought was of some value, a young girl who was pregnant, but she was not liked by her own. The meeting carried on, but Lier's thoughts were elsewhere as the topic shifted to tactical aspects of the war. It was not relevant to her as she had just had her forces stripped from her. When Slier concluded the meeting, Lier came back to the present and lingered in order to speak privately with her mother. Slier, she spoke once the last of the officers left. Slier walked over to her desk and sat down, never glancing at Lier. My decision is final, was all she said. But might I ask why? Lier pleaded. Slier let out a long breath and looked up at Lier. Lier's eyes shot downward to not meet her mother's gaze. Could it be that it is because it was your idea? Lier said aloud. Could it be that it would be that you are the only one to have retreated? Wait, Lier tried to interject. Could it be that you are the most inexperienced officer who can speak their language? That is not. Could it be that it would be seen as favoritism if I did not pick you? Could it be that I am disappointed in you and wish to punish you? And that's where I'm going to leave it. I think that's a pretty interesting place to leave it. Apparently, Lier's mother is talking down to her. Basically, disappointed in everything. Finding reasons to have Lier tasked with this. Leave comments down below if you're even watching. Like, share, subscribe, whatever is at the front of the video. Comment, let me know what you think. Hopefully you've gotten the book and can actually read it yourself, because I am doing a terrible job. It might be my dyslexia. I might just be using that as an excuse, and just might be terrible at reading. I mean, sometimes my mind just goes on and on and on. Like, you saw the start. I mean, I was ranting about the editing process. That's something you know what? I'm going to save it. Thank you all for tuning in. I just like this hand better. Thank you all for tuning in. Toodles.